Hi, my name is Kerry-Jo Ford-Lynn. I'm originally from Jamaica, and I currently live in Washington, D.C. And I am the director of the LGBTI Global Human Rights Initiative at the Australia Lesbian Foundation for Justice. And I did the Master's in Development Administration and Planning at UCL. So my passion for community development and all things development and essentially service started when I was at the University of the West Indies in Kingston, Jamaica. I started volunteering as a mentor to young high school students, and I was also a peer counselor. And that work really just catapulted me into this field of giving back and this desire to give back. And when I left the university and I was at my first job for an electricity company, it was the largest electricity generation project in the Caribbean at the time. I continued to volunteer because I understood that that was something that fed my soul. And I volunteered with HIV/AIDS groups, helping to support, services to the community, both the HIV positive community, and building awareness um, for prevention, risk mitigation, etc. This was in 2001, so it was quite some time ago in the Caribbean. After that, I was able to find a job that really aligned with my passion for development, and that was as project manager of a community policing pilot project that was funded by USAID in what was one of the most violent communities in Jamaica at the time. And it was there that I learned a lesson in development that has stayed with me for my entire career, which is those most impacted by an issue are, and those most closest to the issue and the problem and the challenge are the ones whose priorities and needs should be centered. And I think that it's important to always remember that in any circumstance, whether it's personal or professional. And this started out where I was pretty green to development as, as a project manager. And it was a pilot project. There was no template for it. And I went in and listened to the community members about what it was that they needed. And that made the project way more impactful than I believe it would have been if we had gone in with prepackaged solutions. After that, I went back into the private sector um, with the intention to continue identifying opportunities to work in community development. And each job that I applied for, whether it was an international agency or a local agency, they said, you are a great candidate, ideal, we would hire you, except you need a master's program, which led me to identify the master's at UCL in Development Administration and Planning. After I was able to get that degree, it was important for me to return to Jamaica to really use my newfound skills, perspectives, and apply that to supporting the work in Jamaica. And I became a project manager with Digicel Jamaica Foundation. And there started really seminal programs in social enterprise. I worked with special needs communities, and we were also able to increase the literacy of primary school children by 2 grade levels in an academic year, which was a major accomplishment. And I was there for 5 years, and I left as the chief operations officer and went on to become the director of the first grant that the USAID ever gave to support LGBTI communities across the globe, which was a huge accomplishment. We closed out that grant in 2019, and I was able to secure another 5-year grant to support LGBTI communities in 9 countries around research, communications, capacity building, emergency response, which has proved extremely useful in COVID-19 times, and also just direct grant making to ensure that our communities are able to withstand violence, stigma, criminalization, discrimination. And the lesson that I learned at my very first job in Grants Pen, Jamaica, was that it's so critical to listen to those closest to the issues. And that is what we do currently. That is what I continue to do. Center the needs of activists in identifying their own solutions, because their needs and priorities really are the most critical. When I was looking for a master's degree program, it was really important for me to identify a master's degree that was not focused on the global north and global north solutions. And when I came across the Development Administration and Planning master's degree at UCL in the DPU, it struck me that most of the lecturers were from countries in the global south. We had lecturers from Chile, from Uganda, and Peru. And I thought that was an amazing starting position in terms of benefiting from the lived experience and political perspectives of lecturers who were not based in the US. So that was an appealing part of the program for me, as well as the ability to immerse in a different country and culture and really work quite directly on projects that were real life projects. We were able to go to Uganda and look at poverty programming and poverty mitigation strategies in the manufacturing sector. And that was an amazing experience for me. The people that I was able to meet in my cohort, I'm still in touch with many of them today, and they are amazing people. They came from every corner of the world. And I think that it wasn't until like 3 months into my being in London that I actually met someone who had been born in London. So I think that just goes to show how diverse an experience it is to be a part of the DPU. Um, I think that one of the most striking examples of how the DPU was able to shape some of my perspectives is having a colleague, a student in my cohort who is extremely like capitalist, like big proponent of capitalism, and our lecturer who's from Chile, communist, and them having healthy debates in the classroom. And it was just fascinating to see that dissent and disagreement could be handled in the ways that they were, and that the wealth of experience and perspectives really added to how robust the programming was. And it has really ensured that I maintain a global perspective in my work and centering that global perspective, even though I am currently based in the US, and especially because I'm currently based in the US.